Let's get some inside analysis now from Daniel Zimmer, who's an expert on antitrust regulations. So, Daniel, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us. I just want to get another example of monopoly or potential monopoly. And you were the chairman of Germany's Monopoly Commission until a particularly controversial case. Maybe you can tell us about it.
Thank you. The case was about the German supermarket business. The strongest company in the field, Edeka, wanted to take over a smaller competitor that was present in certain distinct regional markets. And this merger was prohibited by the Federal Competition Authority. Later, however, it was approved by the federal minister who overruled the authority's decision.
OK, so going against what the expert advice, essentially. So what do you see as the firms which pose the biggest anti-competitive threat today?
Competition in so-called digital markets is a tricky issue. I think we should have an eye on Facebook in particular. This platform does not only have a huge market share, it's also difficult for users to evade, because if all your friends are on Facebook, you would have to convince them to switch with you to another network, and then those friends would have to need to convince their friends in turn. So we see that there is an important lock-in effect.
OK, but that's not Facebook's fault.
That's, of course, not Facebook's fault, but it's difficult to evade. I think with many services, it's easier to evade. You can use a different search engine. The competitor is just one click away. But perhaps people are convinced that they get the best service with Google. But if you are once in a social network, it becomes more difficult to switch to another one.
OK, but let me put this to you, that monopolies can actually be advantageous. So they get there because they provided a fantastic service, for example. And who wants to really go without Google's accurate search engine or Facebook's news feed? So some services which are free to the user have big advantages over other services. Maybe monopoly is not always a bad thing.
I agree. I wholly agree. And I think that it's just the size of some platforms that can create benefits for consumers. The most important search engine knows more and knows better about people's interests and needs, so it can provide better search results. And of course, the one huge social network has its advantages for its users. The question is whether there is a threat because of this.
And also how to regulate these firms, because I imagine regulating modern digital firms is very different from regulating the old-style offline firms.
As you just mentioned, there are advantages to scale, economies of scale, quality advantages. But the crucial issue is to protect the potential of competition, as long as a monopolist or a quasi-monopolist is subject to a threat that there is a potential or actual competitor around the corner who could take over the market or who could take over parts of the market. The monopolist will have an incentive to serve its clients well. When this is no longer the case, it becomes difficult and dangerous. And so I think competition law should aim for protecting this potential of competition by, for example, preventing firms from buying their direct competitors.
OK. All right, fascinating conversation and fascinating insight. Daniel Zimmer, the former head of the German Monopolies Commission, thank you very much.
Thank you.